Okay, so good afternoon, channel. Excuses for the change in the camera. You know, the main camera, it's having an issue with the mic. So I recorded with this one. Maybe in the future, you know, we can make this video for us in a second time. You know, improve the quality of it. Sounds like a good idea. But right now, I'm gonna record with this. So the reason is because I felt this subject is something urgent is something we must talk about, because it's quite important. And just a few days ago I grabbed a perfect example to make this video more clear and communicate things in a better way, because it's a real life example I lived through. As you see on the title, this video is an expansion about the works I did on racism. It's an expansion to understand much better what I was talking about. And also, it's a description of philosophy, because a disclaimer I have to do before starting this important video, this urgent thing we have to talk about, is that if you are in philosophy, as in this structure where we try to have a conversation, you know, and give each other information. By the way, if you want to leave in the comments some commentary, do it, because that creates that enriches this video, makes it more interesting. Create debate below in the comments. But what I'm trying to say is that in this structure, as in philosophy, if you are the kind of person that's not capable because you are not capable at all, because maybe you have a religion blocking you or biases blocking you, if you're not the kind of person that can listen to something, and after listening to it, after paying attention to it, say, you know, oh, that makes sense. You know, adding to that, if you are also a person that doesn't live by the famous quote, you know, the wise man loves to be corrected. The wise man loves to be corrected. If you are a person that's not easily corrected, it's very hard that philosophy will make an effect on you in a high degree. You know, it always makes an effect. It's always positive. But it is much more powerful when people have this capability of finding sense in things, on pursuing truth, on loving to be corrected, or at least being open to be corrected, right? And more than anything, listen to. Even to conversations that are in truth at the end, or that are 100% truth, maybe are 90% truth. Those conversations are essential to reach that high level of understanding of morals, of values, etc. So basically, that's just an introduction before diving into the video. If you are not that kind of person, it's gonna be hard for you to get a high value from this, as the consequences of it is that sometimes you are not because you are not philosophical, you are not going to be competitive in matters of values and morals when compared with other human beings. Your soul, your spirit, your person probably is going to become needy of a thing as a religion and as dogmas, and probably, let's call it lies for the purpose of speaking truth in this video. You're going to need the lies to convince yourself to be good, because your mind is not going to arrive to those conclusions by using the truth, because you don't listen, because you don't think, because you cannot find something that as true or agree or say, wow, that makes sense. You know, you cannot wonder about things. So that's why if you are not good with philosophy, that will have consequence. You might need religion, or even if you don't have religions, you might start needing high paid positions to really do a job very well and work hard. And if someone doesn't pay you a lot for something, you're not going to be good at anything, because you're going to lack the values to work for reasons that go above and beyond money. You are not going to be capable of making yourself the questions of what is a very good service that I can create to offer to my community. being less perfectionist. What is one of, from all the things I'm capable of doing, what is something high quality that I can do to improve the quality of my community? And of course, in the process, I'm going to be paid if I'm valuable. But what are the things I can do? These questions will help you to understand that, and will help you to find values, morals, what you're good at, what you have time for, what you don't have time for. In the same way, making questions to yourself will make you more prone to make questions to others, and others, by answering your questions, as when books answer your questions, they will help you to find answers that will be essential for your development, not only philosophically but professionally, etc. Questions, a lot of questions. But if you're not a person that can wonder, that can say, oh, this makes sense, if you're a person that cannot make questions, it's going to be tougher for you. Maybe you have a special type of religion that can replace this emptiness you will have in your head. But yeah, you can have both, by the way. You can have a religion and philosophy at the same time, man. But that's basically the introduction. It's very important. Summarizing, the wise man loves to be corrected, wonder, and realize that if something makes sense, it's because it makes sense, man. Okay? So as you see in the subject of the video today, I wanted to do an expansion on racism, and I'm gonna talk to you about an specific example of racism I live by. After that, which I think is a perfect example, because it's very subtle, and we don't only want to find racism when it's evident. When it's obvious, when we say racism, you know what we are talking about, right? You imagine a situation where it's very, very apparent. But also we have to detect it in very tiny situations, because those tiny situations can have huge consequences. That's why nowadays we have such a big fight against racism. But without making it too general, being precise about what I wanted to describe, we were talking in previous videos about how human beings negotiate identity. And it doesn't matter the background you have. If you are very rich, if you are poor, if you are born in the most insecure and problematic country, as you are in the middle class, doesn't matter where you are. One thing we have in common, all human beings, is that in one point of our life, sometimes more often, but everyone in one point of their lives, especially when they have language, when they have the intelligence to have a language to speak, in any moment of your life, especially when people is children, we will end up negotiating our identity. When we are adults, we negotiate to be hired, and get money. But when we are children, we negotiate based on what we think we could become. We negotiate based on the need of asking adults for some help, so we can become something we want to become, right? So racism in some way is many things, but one thing very precisely is when we fail to successfully negotiate something that is totally possible for us, but we fail to negotiate that based on racism, based on sexism, based on biases. Summarizing everything is a bias. We're talking about biases that destroy ourselves, that destroy people, that make the life of others more difficult. So when we talk about fighting against racism, what we are really worried about, what the thing that is most annoying for us, is we are talking about fighting against biases, especially biases that blocks people, that even destroy the future as people. Because some people, when they interact with someone that's biased, maybe that person is one of the only opportunities they have, so they end up destroyed by the bias of others. Well, richer people, more privileged people, they don't care as much about biases because they always have many opportunities, right? If this bias stops him from going in this direction, they have another direction to grow, right? But biases is one of the most, biases and racism is one of the biggest barriers poorer people have when trying to develop. And that's why people want to fight against it so much. Number one, Of course, lack of capital, lack of money plays a, a big part of is a big part of the reasons, you know, of why people is blocked and can grow. But also racism have some weight, and the biases of all that. So that's why we are fighting so hard to reduce biases and racism, because if we eliminate that, maybe people that was in a poor situation will find by themselves a way of growing, despite this other difficulty that might never be solved, which is the lack of money. There will always be a lack of money, because that's how economy works. You know, economy means the study of lack. It has to be a lack of money so people work. So we cannot give money to everybody. But what we can give to everybody is a world without biases, or with less biases. I correct myself, I'm sorry. Not without biases, that might be impossible to achieve, but what we can achieve is to reduce the biases so people have more opportunity. Precise example about this. Let's say a very poor individual from a country that's not only poor in money and jobs, but also is very insecure, right? Let's say that this person has a little bit of luck, you know, maybe there's a school open there by someone who donated money to open school near him. And this school maybe have internet, a very bad quality internet. But this person lives in a small town, you know, far away from the capital. Probably he speaks a dialect that's not spoken in the capital. Probably there's civil war, there's insecurity. And this is a child. And he has a parent, he has the adults of his village. Let's see that this child becomes conscious, for example, thanks to the internet of that school, that he maybe can become a programmer. That maybe he can learn how to code and make a good salary from that. Maybe in that school he met a teacher that he was maybe a little bit crazy, but spoke about that, and he started dreaming about it. So this person is gonna go with his parents or with the adults of his environment, and he's gonna try to negotiate if computer science is something he or she likes. He's gonna try to negotiate that despite his limitations, this is something he can do. Okay? So that's the precise moment where negotiation of identity change our destiny. Change our destiny. Because if adults buy it, these children might receive help, and might keep going forward with it. But if adults doesn't buy it because of discrimination or because of a bias, you know, these children is gonna be blocked. And you know, children are very vulnerable to drop out from a dream. It's not like adults, that adults can have determination, right? And go through toxic people. But no, children are more weak in that sense, and they can drop out of a dream if they don't receive the help from adults around them. So why I use this extreme example of a very poor village? Because of course that environment, those parents are gonna have a bias that it's impossible for him to get a good job. It's like crazy for them. Probably they're gonna say no to him, and they're gonna advise him to become a farmer, to become a warrior, I don't know, to become something within the range of what they know. You know, probably they're gonna try to convert him in someone that will emigrate to the capital in a very bad situation, and will try to work in bad jobs until he goes out of that. They will never consider that it's possible for him to study something in the internet and become a programmer, and that there's free courses out there, that maybe the first thing that child should do is learn English so he can access those free tools. But maybe all of that is possible. That's the message of what I'm trying to say. Maybe all of that is possible, but because of the biases that adults have around this child, the destiny of these children is gonna change enormously, and they're gonna be trapped in poverty, or even if they had a small chance of going out of poverty, or at least getting a good job, maybe related with coding, etc. They will not have that chance. just for a second example to make it more diverse, imagine he likes to play guitar. Maybe that child had an enormous talent hidden within him to play guitar, but their parents will not support that because they don't like musicians. In the same way, the example with coding, with computer science, will apply also with middle class. Some people that's in the middle class, stable, with internet, with everything. Even some children will go with their parents, will try to negotiate that they want to do that they want to work from home with a comfortable and high-paid job that will help them to go out of poverty, and the parents will not buy that as the adults around them. The nice thing of the middle class is that they will have big communities, and they might find other adults in those communities that might buy from them, that they want to become a coder, a programmer, and they will help them out. But maybe your parents will not. And that will have an enormous weight on your psychology. Maybe your parents aren't biased or aren't racist, they only want you to be something else. But all of these are biases. All of this is racism. It's based on the idea that because of his race, or because of where he was born, or because of the nationality this person has, this person cannot do something, or this person should do something else that his people is talented at, or that his people or her people have it nearby, making it possible. So this is basically racism, and it's an example of how it can block the opportunities around us. A subject for another day is how people can better negotiate their identity, how they can become better at convincing others that they have future, that they want to work hard. Some people have that skill. They are good convincing people that even when people say no, you are not that, they're very good, go debating with people and showing them that they can be what they want to be. Showing determination, showing skill, showing many things, many strategies people can use to show themselves as valuable, to empathize with the other person and negotiate successfully something that they need to negotiate. But that's subject for another day. We are talking about racism today. So the last thing I want to bring you is a perfect example, because I'm quite privileged, and I work very hard to be where I am, and that is creating like a safe net for me, right? But it's a quite good example, because you can see how even myself, I live racism in my life with all the blessings I have. And this is important. This example is important because you will realize how fighting against racism changed the life of everybody in all the levels, all the socioeconomical levels. All are changed if we can reduce the biases around us. So the example I wanted to show you is, for example, I have tutors at school which I found racist, which I found biased at the least, which I found their minds are wrong in the sense that they struggle to buy the identity of a person when they're the thing is this, I'm fine if they think I don't care what they think about me. What I care is that they're getting paid to buy identity, to buy that their students have an identity, right? For example, I'm talking precisely about coding, about a programming professor that's helping me to learn how to code out of all the things I'm learning by myself that are related with computer science. So in real life, he can meet me in the street. Maybe I'm interested in coding, and I will say to this person, I want to learn how to code, my friend. And he will look at me. He'll say that he will see that I'm doing finance and I'm doing other stuff. So he will not buy from me that I really want to learn. So he will not help me. He won't buy that he should help me. Maybe he won't buy that I'm a good programmer, or that I want to be the greatest programmer ever. And maybe if I was capable of showing him that I was going to be the greatest programmer ever, he will help me. But he decides not to help me. We fail in the negotiation of identity. Okay, that's normal in real life. That's totally allowable. But the thing is that when he's a professor, when he's a tutor, he's getting paid to treat all his students, I won't say equally, but in a similar way. Doesn't matter what's the condition of the student, doesn't matter if he has an IQ below 87 and looks like it's very hard for him to learn anything. If you're a tutor and you're getting paid to buy that they will be the greatest programmer ever. And you will work to do that possible because it's your job. You're getting paid for that. You cannot discriminate in that situation. And if you do, it's 3 times worse than doing it in real life because you're getting paid to don't do it. Only around certain subject. That's the subject you're tutoring about. If you're tutoring mathematics, you will buy that all your students will be the greatest mathematicians ever, and you will try very hard to teach them because you're getting paid to do that switch, that psychological switch, while the world around them don't teach them anything about mathematics. You are a person that's getting paid to be different, to make that switch, to grab a mission in education, which is educating your students in a certain subject. If they have a question around that subject, you must answer it. You must you must just show yourself open to receive questions in the email and answer all the questions they do around that subject. If you are going against it, it's quite like you're not doing your job well, and plus you're being racist. I don't know why everyone should learn how to code. I can't understand why this tutor was being racist when it's a skill that everyone uses. There's no excuse to don't want to teach many professions about coding. It's useful for anything. But I was surprised. This person was struggling to buy that I deserved his time to teach me all the different questions I had in the subject. So it's an interesting example. The thing is from this example is that why the person I'm complaining about is flawed in the way he is. It's because if we analyze racism, there's problems we can solve after we spot them, and then there's other type of problems that we can only reduce. Those will never disappear because those are part of human nature, or are part of the human. I won't say flaws, of the characteristics you have due to the limitations we have. And the last thing I want to add on the video about racism, which is very, very good, is that racism is natural. And this last example I gave you is perfect to talk about that, because imagine my tutor about programming, about coding, computer science, anything related with that. He even works in that industry, right? Imagine, because nowadays there's a lot of people that want to learn how to code. There's not a lot of people who want to do all the things you need to learn, but there's a lot of people that is wanting, to start in that. So imagine that this is a skill that many people loves to do questions about. Imagine if he, as a person that already knows how to do that, imagine if he goes in the street and every time a person that wants to talk about programming and wants to learn about it, imagine if in his mind, with every person he gets across, he's 0% racist, zero, and buys it. They're going to be the next Bill Gates, and he spends 2 hours speaking with people about the subject, or half an hour, as long as they want to listen. He spends all that time helping them to learn with all the people he gets across with. This will end up in him wasting his time with a lot of people that didn't have enough skills, or didn't have enough will, or was just messing with him. He will end up wasting hours of his life with people that will not pay him for do that, and that will not learn what he's trying to teach them. So basically, as I won't say a defense mechanism, it's just like a natural response. You won't do that with everybody, because it's a waste of time. You don't have enough time to do that. No human being has enough time to do that. Maybe myself, I can do it with you because I'm recording myself. This can be reproduced at any moment at time, but he personally, in real life, he cannot do that. Okay? And this thing is the response to this, because most people doesn't know how to say I don't have time for this. Most people develop biases. They develop biases in their mind to reject these situations and save time and be sane and be able to move forward, right? So the thing I had with this example is that, of course, he's biased. He won't say me I don't have time for this, because he cannot say this to me, because I'm paying, my university is paying him, so he teach me. So he's not gonna be capable of saying I don't have time for this. So he was biased, and he used his bias, his racism, to don't do the job that he should do. When I was making questions about programming, he was always trying to do the bare minimum, to don't get fired, instead of taking the job of diving along all the questions I had, and that were very good questions. And thanks to those questions, I moved forward with many projects. It made sense to answer me those questions. But the thing is that, right, they don't have enough time to interact with all the people, so we become racist and biased by default because we need it. And even if you become 0% racist and you start spending all your life answering the questions of people, you might even find that in 10%, 20% of the cases you were wrong, and you will find that people that you were racist with, you were wrong, and that you did a good job helping them out, right? But the other 80% of people will be a waste of time, and that's going to have consequences. That's not sustainable. And so basically that's it. That's the things I can add about racism. It's this thing. The last conclusion is that racism cannot be destroyed. It won't disappear as long as we have limited times as human beings, but can be reduced. And it's very important to reduce it in the relationships with parents, children, and adults, and the children of a community. Because nowadays we live in a time where internet makes that many things that children might want to negotiate that they can do are actually possible. No matter how poor you are. As long as you have internet, maybe some good computers, that is important to donate that to schools and to communities. As long as they have that, they have a way out. They have some good jobs they can learn, so they don't end up in bad jobs also. And the second step after infrastructure is the psychological part. And it's very important that parents and adults understand that maybe they're biased and they shouldn't be racist with anybody, and especially they shouldn't be racist with their children and with the kids from their communities. When their kids come and they say, "Oh, I want to be a programmer," maybe stop. Maybe that's possible. Maybe instead of being toxic, realize that you were biased after thinking a little bit. Oh, and it's possible. And if we realize that, we might open a lot of doors to people. Not only people of color, not only people that from other discriminated minorities, to all races of people. Because all races of people end up negotiating their identity. If this is very important. If this is not the description of how some people can go out of poverty, and it is a description of that, but what I'm trying to say is that it will also work in higher stratas of socioeconomic groups, because we are also talking about helping people to find their vocation and to don't kill their dreams when they're trying to pursue something that's very, very big. Sometimes some children with a lot of opportunities want to do something big of their life. I don't know, they want to get into real estate and some high-paid business, but they will receive negativity from their environment. They won't buy that identity from them in many situations too, and especially in that situation, because they don't need it. They don't need to work in that, so it's going to be harder to believe them. But that's basically the message of the video. I'm gonna keep it in 30 minutes. Thank you for watching, and I hope you find the information useful. It's very, very important. Racism is something we have to fight against. So thank you very much. Blessings. Subscribe, and share the video. Okay, bye bye.